Welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland. This is... what is this? Let me put you to sleep. Whisper Wednesday. And Vinny, as soon as I start doing this recording, he's up and awake. He was fast asleep about 30 seconds ago. I think he just wants a bit of a cuddle. So, just say hello to everyone. A big special hello to Ben, who is the only person I know that likes the Whisper Wednesdays. Wednesday Whisper, whatever this is. I say the only person I know that likes them. They do get listened to by lots of people, but just, I know that. Hi Ben, that's what I'm saying, is hi. Vinny, say hello to Ben. He said hi as well. Actually, he said no. I don't have to do what you tell me. He's very rude. So today is Wednesday. I've got no idea what the date is. I think it's the 11th of June, 2025. I was thinking about doing this recording, but I was watching something on TV, and then there was this massive sound outside, because I had the window open, and I thought, it's the lawnmower men just cutting the lawn, which means it's loud, but it doesn't last long. But it seemed to be lasting a little bit longer than normal, because the communal garden here is very small. It doesn't take more than probably 5 minutes for them to cut. And then I started to hear revving, like that's my impression of a revving, and I realised it was a motorbike over the fence. So I had to close the window because it was way too loud. But when I closed the window, the motorbike stopped. And now I can just hear loads of voices. So I'm going to continue making this recording, even though, literally, as we speak, I heard the person trying to start the motorbike again. It's just, it's very loud. It's very, very loud. I might just continue talking anyway, because it might not be very loud on the microphone, because it is literally outside over the fence, and you might not hear it, or it might be very faint. I can hear it. Well, I can't hear it now because it's not going, but anyway. Oh yeah, please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. It's times like this that I feel glad that yesterday I actually made use of the day and made some recordings. Because a day when there's a motorbike being revved all day long, which has happened, well, for a few hours anyway, I just find it distracting to make a recording. I mean, I can't make any kind of hypnosis-y stuff like that. yesterday I did do a couple of new recordings, as well as the Trivia Tuesday. What is this? Whisper Wednesday? Wednesday Whisper? No, it's Whisper Wednesday, isn't it? I'm trying to stick to the routine of Mondays, Boring Objects, Trivia Tuesday, Whisper Wednesday, and Q&A Friday. So that's four days when it's like a regular type of recording. So I am trying, not very hard, but very minimally, giving it a go. Oh yeah, ooh yeah. I found a new way of doing some exercise. I'm using the word exercise very flimsily, but I took my little one out for a WALK, and he started pulling me towards the bridge. So I've got this railway bridge, and it's not even really used. I think it was originally built because they were going to be building a railway station there, and they never built the railway station, but they put a brand new bridge in. It's one of those really nice bridges. I say really nice bridges, I mean you might not be into bridges, but it's like metal, and there's steps going up, but also a big ramp as well. So if you're on a bike or in a wheelchair, you can get access. And it's a big old bridge. And for some reason, Vinny was trying to take me. He wanted to take me away from. I think what it is, he gets bored being in the same little park every day. He wants to go for a walk and explore other places. So I just let him lead me the way. Sometimes I will do that. I'll just follow him. Or as my old friend Andre used to say, folly. I used to folly him. Folly. And he led me to the bridge, and he started trying to walk up the ramp bit, and I pulled him away and said no. And then he walked and he tried to go up the steps. So I thought, well, he clearly wants to go up here, so I just followed him up the steps. He walked across the bridge, and then I think we went down the ramp. No, we went down the steps, and then he wanted to walk further away, which would be leading us pretty much to nowhere really. And I thought, no. But he clearly wants to have a good walk, and I need a good walk. I get out walking, but I don't walk any kind of real distance, not really. I don't think I get my 10,000 steps a day. I get a few thousand, but I don't think 10,000. Maybe I do, but I doubt it. I've never counted them. It's quite hard though, isn't it, if you count your steps and then another dog walker says hello. What am I supposed to do? So wait a second. Let me just write down the steps that I've done so far. I think there's a gadget you can get. A step counter. There used to be this thing that you could use, which it was like a wheel, and you put it on the ground and you walked with distance that you went. And I used to have one of them, and I'd use it sometimes in London because I wanted to see how far I'd walked. Got some very weird looks. But you got, yeah, apparently I think the stepometer things is just because you shake. So literally you could just, I don't know, stand on one of those shaky machines and it looks like you've walked for miles when in fact you haven't done anything. Or you could bounce on a bouncy castle. Although that would be exercise as well, wouldn't it? Yeah. I wonder if it registers steps on the moon. I don't mean when I'm walking, I mean somebody that was on the moon. But then I suppose because it's so advanced, isn't it? All the technology that they probably are registering the distance that the astronauts are travelling anyway and how many steps they take. Plus, they don't have to make as many steps, do they? Because they're almost being pulled into space. But the heavy boots keep them down, which I never understood. How heavy are those shoes? Wouldn't it make more sense, right? Because if the shoes are really, really heavy, because you imagine if we didn't have any gravity on this planet, we would just end up in the sky. How heavy would we have to have? How heavy would our shoes have to be to keep us stuck to the ground? Because I've seen movies where no gravity and cars are just being pulled up into the air because there's no gravity. Okay, it's a movie, but if that's the case, does that mean that the astronauts' shoes, slippers or boots or whatever, boots I guess, the astronauts' boots, Wellington boots, are heavier than a car? So if that's the case, then that's got to be part of the reason why it's so hard to get into space, because it's not so much getting through the atmosphere. The rocket is the weight of those shoes, the astronauts' shoes. So wouldn't it make sense if they just had a little, I don't know, on the moon or on the space station, a shoe cupboard or something, where they can just leave the shoes there so they could wear slippers or Crocs going up, and then when they get there they can put on, slip into their astronaut wellies that are really heavy. They might end up using a lot less fuel. They might get there quicker. I might have just solved a big issue. See? It's amazing what you can do when you're not even trying. That's the problem, but I bet you not one astronaut or not one astrophysicist or scientist is listening to this. Because if they were, this could change the whole landscape of space travel. In fact, it could be the break needed that could bridge. I got back to talking about bridges. Could bridge towards further exploration of space a lot quicker. And they could just start to store stuff in space, on the space station or on the moon, and have that as like a lockup. You know, like an old lockup. Just keep spare stuff in there. Or they could even open shops up, really, but I guess that's more for the future. Like a shoe shop and helmets. Do they need a helmet on when they're travelling up? Again, I'm not sure. I thought the container they were in was pressurised, which meant they'd be able to breathe. I might be wrong. What they could do is fill, you know, the airbags that they have on their back, which gives them oxygen. Why not fill them with oxygen? Like thousands of them. And just keep taking them into space. So that eventually we have unlimited supply of oxygen up there. But I don't know, would that run out the oxygen in this world though? If we kept filling, if you kept filling an oxygen tank up from oxygen, the air, and you did that, got millions and billions and billions of them, would the oxygen run out? And another thing, what's the life, you know, the lifespan of oxygen? Does it go off after a few years? Does it go mouldy? Because I used to think that tin soup, lasts forever. I remember seeing these, again, I'm not sure if they were documentaries or if they were movies or TV shows, where people would be climbing up a mountain and they'd get to a shack or some kind of wooden house, and there'd be a cellar, or there'd be like with lots of food and stuff, but all tinned food, because bananas don't last long on a mountain. But they go there, and the last time anyone was there was like 100 years ago, because someone wrote in a book, I was here 100 years ago, or I don't know, whatever, and they'd open up the food in the tin and they'd eat it and it'd be all yum 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 yum. Mind you, cat food would taste amazing if you hadn't eaten for 5 days, wouldn't it? It'd be the most delicious thing you'd ever eaten. And it'd taste even better if you didn't know it was cat food. So don't present it in a cat food bowl. Probably. Not that you're going to present it. I mean, if someone's hungry and you're getting them some food and they haven't eaten for days, you're not going to be worried about presentation, are you? I suppose. They'd probably be happy just to eat it out of the tin. Well, I used to think that all tins lasted like forever. I say forever, maybe not thousands of years, but just a long, long time, because they were airtight and they were built to last. Well, let me tell you, the tins of today are not built to last. I had some tins of soup, and they were good ones, like Heinz. They weren't like Little Home Brand. Not that there's anything wrong with Little Home Brand. I'm just saying it was Heinz, I would say probably the most famous soup maker in this country anyway. Heinz tomato soup. And most people, even if they don't have soup, I nearly said eat soup, but soup isn't eaten, it's drunk, isn't it? Even if it's got vegetables in and stuff, it's just lumpy water, lumpy flavoured water, that's what it is. It's not a meal. At best, it's a starters. Did I ever tell you about the date I went on? And she said, would you like some lunch before we go out? And I thought, oh yeah. She gave me soup and one piece of bread. I was like, what am I? Is this a date or is this my first day in prison? I mean, what the heck? I mean, literally, I get better fed in prison. That was what I was like, what's going on? Those are the days when my belly didn't enjoy soup. I needed food. The same thing happened when I visited my dad and my stepmom, and this was, I think it was December 2011. December 2011. And I just wanted to tell them because I'd just been diagnosed with bipolar, and I wanted to tell them because it was, I don't know, it just seemed like the right thing to let them know. I think when my dad, well maybe both of them, looked at each other like, that explains it. But what I remember about that meeting is we met in this restaurant, cafe place, had soup. Soup. I had no money, so I couldn't. They paid for the meal, and they had soup. In fact, I'm pretty sure the conversation was, should we just all have some soup? I'm like, I thought they were joking. Soup. We could have done that at home. I don't know why I'm focused on soup today. I like soup. I'm not prejudiced against soup. I'm not. You know, I do like chicken soup. Like cream of chicken, or I don't know, the creamy, that's nice. I'm not so beef broth, nah, not so much. Vegetable soup, okay. Tomato soup, that ticks the boxes for me. But it's not a meal. It's not a meal. Although thinking about it, maybe I'm going to start. It's weird, isn't it? I started off moaning about soup. Now I'm starting to think, I'd quite like a nice bowl of soup. What a strange brain I have. A nice bowl of soup and a few, maybe 2 or 3 slices of toast. That seems like a real yummy thing. But I don't have any soup. I did. That's why I'm telling you the story. I had some soup. Okay, that's the point. Is they're supposed to last a long time. I went into the cupboard and next to the cooker on the left hand side. Underneath, I don't go in that cupboard really ever. And I went in there just to look what's in there because I'd forgotten. Tins of soup were in there, so I went to pick one up and it was empty. Well, it also leaked, so basically all the soup cans had disintegrated to the point where the lids came off, the contents leaked out and also disintegrated. There was no smell or anything, it was just, it'd been there for maybe 6 years, 7 years. Completely destroyed. And the ironic thing is, on that particular day, I really fancied a bowl of soup. thinking, why don't I drink more soup? I really used to like soup, which I did, but I was a kid back then. And I used to get soup whenever I was a little bit poorly. Maybe I'd go home from school or maybe have the day off. And I remember sitting at the table. My stepmom would be looking after me and she'd make me some soup, and I'd watch Sesame Street on television. Because I think Sesame Street used to be on about midday. And it was great. A couple of bits of toast. A cup of tea as well, though. That was a bit weird because it feels like you have a liquid drink with solid food. It almost felt like I should be eating some kind of solid drink. Maybe an icicle or something. I don't know. You can't really get solid drinks, can you, other than a slushie? Maybe that's quite solid. I'm not sure that would fit together with soup, though. Hot soup. I suppose I feel a little bit nostalgic towards some of those times because I got to spend time with my stepmom, me and her. No one else there. It was just nice, quite peaceful. No arguments, you know. And I'm just like, I did me soup. It's weird how quickly soup cools down. Don't you think? Like, it can be like super boiling hot, and you put the spoon in, because the spoon is metal, it conducts the heat. I think that might be the, but the spoon's very hot, and you're not blowing on the spoon, like, and then the soup's squirting off the spoon. It depends how hard you blow, I guess. Could just like spray over everyone else at the table, but or you make a little dent in it, don't you? Almost like what I used to do is I used to try, because I'd have a spoon and I'd look at it, I'd fill it with soap and I'd try and blow it so that it parted in the middle, a bit like Moses did, with the Red Sea. And I'd just pretend, to hear music. Pretend to hear music. Sometimes I would hear music, if music was being played. So yeah, tomato soup, or any kind of soup, would be an opportunity to reenact the Moses scene from the Bible. I'm sure I'm not the only one that did that. So that was pretty good special effects, considering the movie was like in the 60s. The Moses parting the sea. I don't know if it was just the Bible was the movie. There was another one, The Greatest Story Ever Told. Maybe it was actually called Moses. But that scene where they're walking across the sea and all the seawall is kind of just splashing, but it's not. That's the weird thing about it. That's the it didn't seem realistic in one sense, because if you had the sea parted and you're walking down and there's a big wall and both sides, there'd be some splashback, wouldn't there? Not one splash. They just walked along. No one, you'd think there'd be you wouldn't moan about a few splashes. You wouldn't get to the other side, and Moses would be feeling pretty proud of himself probably, and everyone's saying, says, oh, actually, my shoes are ruined. That's another thing, isn't it? I have to clean my glasses because of all the splashback from the water. When they walked across, the ground was dry. Now the ground would be wet, wouldn't it? It'd be muddy. I know it's just details, but you know, maybe that's not the most unrealistic part of the whole story. Maybe. So we're walking over this bridge, and I thought to myself, this is quite a distance, really, walking over, going down the steps, walking all the way back the long ramp, back to the bridge again, crossing over, walking down the steps, then walking up the other ramp on the other side, which is like up one end and then back again. So it's, I thought, you know, if I start doing that, maybe did that 10 times a day. I don't mean going up there 10 times and walking over it once. More, maybe going there once and doing it 10 times. Maybe twice and doing it 5 times. Or I could go there 5 times and do it twice. Or I could go there 3 times and do it three times. 3, 6, no, oh no. I could do a 3 and a bit. Or I could do it 3 times, and then on every third day do an extra time. Maybe do a 4th. Would that make sense? 3, 6, 9. No, wait a minute. 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 9. No, every other day too. No. 3, 6, 9. So 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. So that'd be 10 days, it'd be 90 instead of 100. So on the 10th day, I could do 20. Or on the 5th day, do 15. And on 20th day, do 15. Which would mean it would be the equivalent of doing 10 a day, I think. I'm not sure if it's really necessary to get too bogged down in specifics regarding how many times I was to walk over it, but I thought maybe that would be useful to get a little bit more exercise and, you know, get out. Plus there's not really anyone around. There are people around, but not much. And the whole way up and down, so up the ramp and across the bridge, it's got sides the whole way, so Vinny can't wander off. He kind of can only go one way, or go backwards, or stop, which he likes to stop. He just likes to do the opposite to what I want him to do. Like earlier today, we went into the park, and the first thing he did was he stole another dog's ball, Amber's ball. That's the name of the dog. He would not let it go, and the ball was too big for his mouth. It was huge, but he loved it. to pick him up and prise it out of his mouth so I could give it back to the dog. He didn't want to give it back. There was one point, right, I kind of picked him up a little bit to get it out of his mouth and he wouldn't let it go. So I started massaging his hands. Now he does not let me do that, ever. Without growling and snapping, he doesn't like me doing that. But on this occasion he couldn't do anything because this ball was in his mouth. So I'm thinking next time I want to cut his toenails, I'm just going to stick a ball, get him to hold a ball, and then he won't know what to do. Maybe. I think it's good though, because he needs to spend more time walking on the pavement, because his toenails do need to get trimmed a little bit. They're not long, but they're not short either. It's weird. The feet, his feet toenails are always short, but his finger toenails, or his toe toenails, his finger toenails, his fingernails are longer than his toenails. And it's not like he's walking sideways, so his feet are on the pavement and his hands are on the grass. You know, that would make sense, if that's why they're at different lengths. But no, normally he does run forward, and he's either on the path, or he's on the grass, or in the mud, or wherever. Although he does love running into the long grass. This is the thing, I don't know if other parts of the country do it, or other parts of the world do this. The council have ordered the lawnmower people who cut the grass in the park to leave certain areas wild. When I say wild, I don't mean angry. They're not just walking up to that bit of grass and teasing it. They're leaving it, they're not cutting it. So it's something about, encouraging wildlife. And then after about a year, they cut it. Another dog walker pointed out, well, first of all, I don't think there's a huge amount of wildlife. Maybe there is insects and stuff. That's definitely true, because those grass flea things, they get onto him if I let him in the long grass. So I don't. And before I used to have him off the lead in the park, and he used to love the long grass. But he'd come home with all these ticks and all stuff like that. Now I don't let him go in the long grass, and he's got nothing. Hasn't had any for over a year. Hasn't had anything on him. And someone, I think a couple of days ago, another dog walker was pointing out, it's all fair and well, them encouraging wildlife, but what happens to that wildlife when they cut the grass? That's a fair point, isn't it? The thing is, when it comes to wildlife, I literally live in the countryside. There's a farm at the end of each road. At the end of every road there is a farm. If I turn left, there's farms. If I turn right, there's farms. If I go through the park and keep going through there, there's farms. It's just farms everywhere. By farms I mean growing farms, not animal farms. I tell you what, Animal Farm, the bother me really, because I'm up quite early anyway. I'm sure there are some farms like that around here, but it's really just like growing crops. But they're everywhere, all around here. This whole area is farms. But there again, the whole country is pretty much farmland, with some towns and some cities and some beaches, but it's just a huge amount of farmland here. Apparently, the bloke who owns the Dyson vacuum cleaner thing, he's the biggest farm owner in the country, or one of them. And in America, the biggest farm owner, I think, is Bill Gates. That's not just farms, that's land, isn't it? To be a landowner. That's, if you own the farms, you almost kind of own the food. Wow. Oh, there's a plane going past. Maybe not. I tell you, it's strange. Oh yeah, can you hear that? No, it's a train. Is it a train? I just realised I don't think it's very windy today, because normally only on days when it's very mild, very calm, that I can hear the trains. When it's windy, I generally can't hear the trains. It's lovely out there, blue sky, sunny. It's going to be difficult because I've got my jumper. Oh well. That's kind of strange, because I have the window open most of the time, but with that window closed, it's so much quieter. Because that literally just wow, 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 over, in the garden. I can't hear what they're saying. Quite often I can't hear what they're saying anyway. Not that I want to, but it's weirdly enough, unless my hearing's changed, I can't really hear them very well. I'm not complaining. It's lovely. Oh yes. So yesterday I walked twice over this bridge. I went up the steps, went over, went down the steps, walked back up, and then back up again, because the ramp is in two parts. It's quite long. It's in two parts. So you got one bit, then you turn around and you come back the other bit, and it gradually goes up with each one, and then you end up at the top of basically you end up exactly where you were, where I was before I went down the steps. It's built for large traffic. Really, it's the same kind of bridge that you would see at a busy train station. But there's no train station there. There is a train track. I think part of the reason they did it was for safety, which is fair enough, because people used to just cross the track. There was no way of monitoring it. So it's a good thing that it's got something over there. But one of the neighbours, when I moved in 10 years ago, said that they spent like £500,000 putting that bridge up. It still looks in good condition. It's hardly been used. Seriously, I reckon the amount of people that cross that bridge in a year would be the same amount of people that would cross a busy train station in a day. Probably less, in fact. 50 people a day crossing that bridge. I'd be surprised. Maybe 100. I'd be surprised if it was that high. Seriously, it's not a lot, is it? Would I class as 2 people because I went over twice? Or did I go over 3 times? No, I went over twice. But I went over and back twice. That's 4 times actually yesterday. So I went so I went up the steps, across the bridge, down the steps, back up the ramp, across the bridge, down the steps, back up the ramp, across the bridge, down the steps, and then back up the ramp, across the bridge, and down the steps, and then we went home. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we crossed the bridge 4 times. So 4 times we went up and down the ramp. 1, 2, 3. I don't know, we said 4 times we passed over the bridge. So how many times did we go up the ramp? So we go up the steps, cross the bridge, go down the steps on the other side. So up the ramp, so 1, up the ramp, cross over, down the steps, then up that ramp again. Then cross over, down the steps, up that ramp, cross over and down the steps. That's just 3. Okay, let me do this again. Up the steps, cross the bridge, down the steps, then up the ramp, crossing over the bridge, down the steps, then up the ramp, cross over the bridge, down the steps, up the ramp, cross over the bridge and down the steps. So how many times is that across the bridge? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's only 3 ramps. I walked up the ramp 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Is that classed as 4? You know, because I've crossed 4 times. I don't know. Maybe if I walked up the ramp the first time, crossed over, went down the steps, then went up the ramp the other side, walked down the steps, went up the ramp, or what I could do. No. Yeah, I mean I could just walk up the ramp, cross over the bridge, go down the ramp, and then just turn back and walk up the ramp again. But it just, I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird one. I'm not really sure. It seemed like more maybe walk up the ramp, cross over the bridge, go down the steps, then walk up that ramp, cross over, down the steps, walk up at that. So I don't walk up any steps. But technically, the thing is, I was thinking, is it better for me to walk up the steps because that's more exercise? But at the same time, if I'm walking down a ramp, that's not really putting a lot of energy, is it? Because I mean, it's not like steep, but it is steep. Still, you know, it's walking upwards. roller skate up there. Because gravity had, yeah, because I might fall back. I don't know, I have to think about it. I just thought it'd be quite nice if I had this, like, nice space to take him over a few times. And another thing I was thinking I could do is walk up and down my steps where I live. I've got stairs, and maybe try walk up and down. Start off maybe doing it twice and then work it up, so I'm doing walking up and down maybe 100 times a day, like in one go, just as an exercise thing. But I don't know, I'm not sure. I've started doing press-ups again and doing some exercise with my weights and doing leg raises in bed for my stomach. So I'm kind of, because I took a little bit of a break for probably 2 weeks where I wasn't really doing much exercise at all. Not even the weights, not crouching, what do they call it? Crouching. I don't know, whatever it is that I do for my lower back while I hold weights. I've not done that for a while. Well, I did it the other day, but I've not done it regularly, like every day, like I used to. And part of the reason for that is because at the weekend I readjusted my bedroom, not purposefully thinking, oh, I'm going to readjust my bedroom. You know, I didn't wake up that morning on Saturday thinking, oh, I jumped out of bed with full excitement, I'm going to move my chair to a different part of the room. I don't mean that. It's just, I was getting the microphones out of the storage room, setting them up. So I've got one here on my chair, near my chair, attached to a table. I've got one next to my bed. I had one attached so I can make videos, but I don't think I can do videos anymore. I prefer audio. It's an old saying, you know, some people they've got a face for radio, and I'm one of them. I think it's possibly a disappointment if someone sees me. They might be listening to me for a long time. Some people have been listening to me for years, and then they get curious and they go onto the YouTube channel and they see me and think, well, now that's ruined. That's ruined everything. So, you know, it's not like I'm not hiding myself, but plus I think with video, I've never liked pictures. I don't mean I've never liked a picture I've ever seen ever. I mean I've never really enjoyed a picture of me, because I don't think photographs necessarily show the person, but a video can. You know, your personality can show in a video. You know, smiling, frowning, facial expressions, the voice, all that stuff, movement, which I guess is part of the whole video process, isn't it? Movement. But I feel I've done that now. I've been there. I spent years doing videos, and there's a little part of me thinking I just wish that I just don't really want to make videos. I prefer audio. This is more relaxing for me. myself, because if I've got a video camera there, I've got a tendency of, I don't know if it's so much showing off, but I definitely feel very self-conscious. At no point do I forget that the camera's pointing at me. With the microphone, this is almost the most natural thing in the world for me, to just talk into a microphone. There's no effort. I think that comes across. Clearly there's no effort, that's why it's so awful, because there's no energy, no effort, no planning. But it's real. This is just me. And I don't necessarily think that happens as much on a video, because I feel self-conscious. I mean, I didn't enjoy it when I had hair, but now that my hair's it's really weird. Like, I got the bald patch at the back, and my hair's, I trim my hair so it's like a crew cut, I guess. But I can see in the mirror that the gap between the hairs is growing, and some of those hairs that are growing back are not the same strength or thickness that they used to be. And I'm thinking that possibly the next 10 years I might... Okay, well, I'll be bolder, that's it really. I showed a picture to ChatGPT to create an image for me, and I said, make an image of Vinny and me. Vinny's on the bed making a podcast or something, and I'm sleeping on a dog bed on the floor. So I did that, and they said, I said, what do Jack Russell, Red Jack Russell, when they did that, and I posted a picture of him, so they changed it to like a lifelike picture of Vinny. I think he was holding a board which said, I don't know, Q&A Friday or whatever it was. And then I said, can you make my image as well? So they said, upload a picture of you. So I did. It just showed someone with a massive bald patch and just hair growing on the side. Like, that's not what I look like. Not yet. It possibly will be, but it won't, because I will shave my hair. I will. That's so annoying though, because I'm pretty sure that the side of my hair and the back of my hair is so thick and curly, but so thick that it would never bald. I don't think I'm ever going to be that will always be thick hair, and at the side as well, but not so much in the middle. It is, going back to Moses, it's a little bit like the parting of the Red Sea. It started at the back and it's just slowly moving to the front. It's weird. Moses and bridges, that seems to be the topic of the day. I did another video, a podcast image, and they said, I said, I want to put in an image of me. They said, describe yourself. So I said, a 54-year-old man. I looked about 90 when they put this picture of me, like this old looking person. I do not look like that. Or maybe I do. I don't to me. But I do need to have my eyes checked, to be fair. I'm saving up for an eye test. And to get... Well, the eye test is free. But the glasses aren't. So I think I get the lenses for free. But I have to pay to have the gloss, the protection on them, and also the actolite, so they go dark in the sun. So I have to pay for that, and I think I get a discount on the frames, or I think I can get a free frame, but they're like NHS. There's nothing wrong with NHS, but I kind of think I don't care what the frame looks like if they're for reading, because I'm not going to be reading outside. Pretty much I'm going to read here, and I'm looking forward to getting my glasses so I can get back to reading again. I just can't do it at the moment, not with these. So it's going to cost me a few £100 because I'm going to have to get probably 3 different frames. One for distance, normal day to day, one for reading, and one for using when I'm on a computer. I need to start protecting my eyes a bit more, and I've noticed that I can't spend as much time looking at the computer screen as I used to do. Which is, it's not a terrible thing really, because I don't really want to be spending all day looking at a computer screen, but at the same time, it is limiting, and I'd at least like to have the option. But at the same time, by looking after my eyes. So, as soon as I've saved up enough, I'm gonna get an appointment, go to the opticians. I'm thinking about asking because I saw somewhere that there's certain lenses that are quite good for people with bipolar. Now, I might have dreamt it, but it's not something I would normally dream about. But then I don't remember everything I dream about. In fact, I can't remember the last time I had a dream. I have a dream. I have dreamt. I just don't remember exactly what I dreamt about. And yeah, wow. I think I had a dream the other day, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know. What was I talking about? Dreaming. What was I talking about? Dreaming. Oh, bipolar lenses. I know that there's some lenses that people with some conditions, not just visual conditions, wear different coloured tinted glasses that are that colour all the time, not just in the sun. Like mine tint dark in the sun. Apparently people can see where I'm looking though, which came as a bit of a surprise after 10 years of thinking I was my eyeballs had freedom. So now, before I go to the opticians, I'm going to do a bit of research. If there's something that can help me in some way, if looking through a different coloured lens could be useful, then it's worth exploring. That's on my to-do list. Yeah, because I remember one of the Bee Gees, I think it was the, maybe two of them, but one of them had I think like a yellow tilted or tinted glasses, and I used to know someone, I think she was a customer, or I said when I worked in the Evolution shop in Ipswich, I think she worked next door in Snappy Snaps, which was this camera processing place, or picture processing. And she had, I think, yellow lenses or blue lenses. And I said, I asked her about it. And she said it was something to do with, I'm pretty sure she said autism, or I'm also, I have a memory of hearing that lenses can help with ADHD. Again, I'm not sure, right? Just, these are like faint memories that may be complete fabrications. But I think anything really is worth a try, isn't it? There's now to lose. I might get some funny looks. But what I was thinking is maybe going forward, I'll ask them if I can get lenses that are always dark, all the time. Like Roy Orbison. Did you know Roy Orbison didn't wear those glasses because he had anything wrong with his eyes? It's true. He had an eye injury, or he had a sty or something like that, so he wore those glasses when he was on stage because his eye was all gammy. And this might be a lie, but this is my memory of it. And he wore these glasses on stage to perform. This is Roy Orbison, the singer. And he liked them so much, he decided to spend the rest of his career wearing those glasses. Those big, thick glasses, dark, which looked like he had serious sight issues. But apparently he didn't. I have seen people wear those type of glasses that were very, had impaired sight. But I was thinking maybe I could get some, I don't want them like that, but just, the thing is, I think some people they think it's weird if you walk around in the winter wearing sunglasses. And I've had a couple of people say, why are you wearing sunshades? It's like, I'm not, these are my normal glasses. But these don't look like sunshades because there's a different frame. These look like glasses. Because sunshades are normally a bit more stylish, there's a different kind of a frame, I think, with sunshades. Although I kind of do like, you remember the Blues Brothers, that kind of sunshades. Yeah, maybe I'll look into that. Maybe that's what I'll do. Just something to kind of protect my eyes from the sun, from the light. I'll see what the optician says, but before that, I'll do a little bit of research online. Maybe watch a few YouTube videos and find out what's about and perhaps do a bit of research into the science behind it and see what studies have shown, because I figure if anything that can help is brilliant. Although in the future the smart glasses will be the norm, and I'm interested in that. I do like the idea of wearing smart glasses and being able to talk to them. I like the idea of being able to make a podcast while I'm just walking around. And I probably have, I don't know how good the microphone would be on the glasses, but audio is improving all the time, and the ability to improve audio as well after recording is, technology is just improving all the time, so there's so much more that can be done. So I'll see what happens, but I'm going to look into it. My question is, what was I talking about when I very first started this recording? Because it wasn't bridges, it wasn't glasses. What was it? I don't know. I can't remember. I cannot remember. Oh, motorbikes in the garden. That's it. So I've got no idea how long I've been talking. It might be 20 minutes, it might be an hour, I don't know. But I'm going to go. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy, and be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love.